Hello, word nerds. Welcome to this wondrous episode of The Dictionary, my podcast that you are listening to. And thank you for listening to it, by the way. I've gotten a couple, in the last week or so, week and a half, I've actually had what seems to be 2 people have downloaded every single episode. So all of a sudden I look at my downloads and it's like over 250, and that's very strange, but I think that's what happened. So thank you. If you are one of those people who downloaded every episode in the first half of October, you're awesome. Thank you very much. That is what I have to say about that. Ooh, and I think a few days ago was actually my best download day ever. I crossed 300 in one day. Again, mostly came from one person, but still, that's cool. Do you care about this information? No. Do I care about this information? A little bit. I try not to, but I kind of care. Today is October 17th, and it is my anniversary. So happy anniversary to my wife. I love you very much. For some reason, you put up with me and all of my antics, like recording this podcast. But I help you with your podcast. It's called Horrors Talk Horror, and you all should go check it out if you like horror movies and the paranormal and sometimes true crime and stuff. All right, the first word is architectonics. architectonics. This is a noun from 1661. It says could also be architectonic, which is the last word that we read. It means the science of architecture. It's a cool word to describe the science of architecture, I think. Number 2, A, is also just architectonic without the S. The unifying structural design of something. And oddly, to B is also architectonic. It means the system of structure. So why didn't they combine architectonic and architectonics and then just say it's plural when you want it to be? There is this weird thing at the beginning that says noun, it's plural, but singular or plural in construction. I don't know what that means. Let's move on to architectural. This is an adjective from 1786. 1, of or relating to architecture, conforming to the rules of architecture. Number 2, having or conceived of as having a single unified overall design, form, or structure. Architecturally is an adverb. Now we have architecture. This is a noun from 1555. 1, the art or science of building. Specifically, the art or practice of designing and building structures, and especially habitable ones. Habitable ones. That's the ones where the people go habitate in them. 2A, formation or construction resulting from or as if from a conscious act, as in the architecture of the garden. Garden, the thing where you plant stuff. 2B, a unifying or coherent form or structure, as in the novel lacks architecture. 3, architectural product or work. 4, a method or style of building. 5, the manner in which the components of a computer or computer system are organized and integrated. Next, we have architrave. Same prefix, archi, plus trave. This is a noun from 1563. 1, the lowest division of an entablature resting in classical architecture immediately on the capital of the column. And then it says to see the column illustration. 2, the molding around a rectangular opening as a door. The architrave. The synonym, no, that's wrong. The etymology says this is from Old Italian, archi plus trave, or probably trave, which means beam. And that is from the Latin trab or trabs. And there's more at the word thorp, Thorp. Another word I don't know. There is some celebrity with the last name Thorpe, but my mind is a blank. Next, we have archival. This is an adjective from circa 1828 of relating to, contained in, suitable for, or constituting archives. This happens a lot where they'll be like, of or relating to blah, 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 or they'll throw in one or two, but that had a lot. Of, relating to, contained in, suitable for, or constituting archives. Archivally is an adverb. Now we have the first form of the word archive. This is a noun from 1603. 1. A place in which public records or historical documents are preserved. Also, the material preserved. This is often used in documents. What? This is often used in plural. There we go. I figured it out. 2. A repository or collection, especially of information. The etymology says, this is from Greek, archeion, which means government house. And that is from archi, which means rule or government. And there's more at the prefix arch, A-R-C-H. Now we have the second form of archive. This is a transitive verb. You could also say archived or archiving. And this is from 1855. To file or collect in, or as if in, an archive, as in archive documents, or archived tissue samples. Now we have archivist, or it's archivist. It could be either, actually. This is a noun from 1753, a person in charge of archives. Next, we have archivolt. Yes, this is a noun from 1723, an ornamental molding around an arch corresponding to an architrave. And if you don't remember what an architrave is, go back like 30 seconds or a minute or so. Let's see. The etymology, Italian, archivolto, which is from Middle Latin, archivoltum. Now we have archly. Yeah, archly, A-R-C-H-L-Y. Is that something done in an arch manner? This is an adverb from 1662. 1. In an arch manner. I swear, I did not look that up. I did not scan ahead to see what that... I was seriously saying in an arch manner in a joking way. That is not the first time that's happened. I'm a little flabbergasted by that. All right, let's move on to number 2. The synonym is extremely. I don't even know what in an arch manner means. What, like, arch enemy? I don't know. And then extremely, as in archly conservative. All right, so yeah, I sort of understand it. I would need to go back to the word arch to really fully understand that. Let's see. Let's just do a quick little look back. Let's go into the past. So that's about an arch, a thing. But this one, here we go. Ooh, these are some good synonyms. Principal, chief, as in your arch opponent. Mischievous or saucy. So yes, you can be in an arch manner by being mischievous or saucy, or being like your main, the principal, the chief, your main opponent. In the example was you're archly conservative. So you're very principally, chiefly conservative. Anyway, I spent enough time on that. Let's move on to archon. A-R-C-H-O-N. This is a noun from 1579. 1. A chief magistrate in ancient Athens. 2. A presiding officer. I wanted to say ossifer. Moving on. Archosaur. This is a noun from 1933. I was way too excited to say archosaur. Any of a subclass of reptiles comprising the dinosaurs, pterosaurs, and crocodilians. The pterosaurs have a P at the beginning of their name, and those, of course, are the winged flying dinosaurs. And we learn that from the word apteron, A without, ptero, whatever, means with wing, and then A means without wings. I knew that word was going to come up again. Archosaurian is an adjective or noun. The process of doing this is very strange. I'm just talking to myself, but I do know that other people are going to be listening to this in the future. And to you, it's in the present. But for some reason, it's just very weird that somebody is actually listening to this craziness that I'm saying. So let's move on to archpriest. This is a noun from the 14th century. A priest a priest of preeminent rank. Yeah, any screw-ups I make, they're staying in. You are going to see a lot. All right, next we have arch rival. This is a noun from 1941, a principal rival. Now we have archway. This is a noun from 1751, a way or passage under an arch. Also, an arch over a passage. Interesting. Archway could be either the thing that is under or the thing that is over. Now we have a suffix, archy. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. We'll find out. It means rule or government, as in squirearchy. No, I'm pretty sure it's squirearchy. God, that is a weird word. I'm still not completely sure how to pronounce that. Why give that example? That seems very odd. Excuse me, I burped. That's the first one I think that I've left in. All right, let's move to arc lamp. Two separate words. Arc it now is just A-R-C. There's no H. We're done with the H's. This is a noun from 1879, an electric lamp that produces light by an arc made when a current passes between two incandescent electrodes surrounded by gas, called also arc light instead of arc lamp. Now we have arc min. It's all one word. This is an abbreviation for arc minute, which is our next word. It is a noun from 1971. Thanks, guys. And it just has the 1B definition for the word minute. You're going to have to wait a while if you really, really wanted to know what an arc minute was. Next, we have arco, A-R-C-O. This is an adverb or an adjective from 1806. It means with the bow, usually used as a direction in music for players of stringed instruments, and it compared to the word pizzicato. Of course, I first thought that it was related to archery, bow and arrow, but yes, I never played stringed instruments, but I am familiar with pizzicato. I think that's where they use their fingers to pluck the string, so that's why we're comparing it to that. And arco just means use the bow. Don't play with your fingers, play with the bow. I have a feeling, because using the bow is standard, I have a feeling that you only see arco after pizzicato has been stated in the music. That's my guess. All right, we are going to do, I guess, two more for this episode because they're related. Next is arcsec, A-R-C-S-E-C, and it is an abbreviation for arc second, very related to arc minute. And arc second is our last word for this episode, A-R-C space S-E-C-O-N-D. This is a noun from 1968, and again, they're not giving us any definition. It's the 1A, this is complicated, the 1A definition for the third form of the word second. Now I have to pick a word. I used to cut out all this time, but I can't do that anymore. So we'll just pick archosaur because dinosaurs are awesome. Yep. I also kind of liked archly just because I was so shocked by that. All right, that's the end of the episode. Again, happy anniversary to my wife. I'm not going to go into detail about our relationship or when or where we got married, but it's our anniversary, and that's awesome. And we're going to celebrate. That's all. Okay, bye. Hello, word nerds. Welcome to this brand new episode of the dictionary. There was a brand new one yesterday, and there will be a brand new one tomorrow. So a number of episodes ago, probably 5 to 10 episodes ago, I mentioned that I was going to talk more about this thing in the next episode, and I totally forgot. So this is in relation to when I went to LA for the weekend. The main reason why I went, which sounds incredibly weird to say out loud every time I do it, was to be a guest on the Weird Alphabet podcast. I won't go into a lot of detail about this, but I did have a great time talking to those guys. We ended up recording 3 episodes. Originally, they said it was only going to be 1, and then we added another one a few days before I left, and then we added a third one the morning of, and that was great. Let's see. The first one of the 3 has already aired. It is Weird Al's song, Theme from Home Improvement. It has an alternative name, but it's basically a parody of the Friends theme song, the TV show Friends, and it's kind of about home improvement. It's more about just being a handyman than anything. But this was never on one of his albums. He's just played it live, I think. And at the airing of this episode, which is October 18th, there probably has been one more episode from the Weird Alphabet. It is the theme from Rocky 13. Yes, Rocky 13. So that was a lot of fun. Go check out their episodes. And I don't remember if I mentioned this, but I was actually a guest on another podcast talking about a different a different band. They Might Be Giants. I know I've mentioned them a lot. So this episode is called Fibber Island. That was the song that we talked about. It's one of the kids' songs, actually. The podcast is called This Might Be a Podcast, hosted by Greg Simpson. So that aired a couple of weeks ago from the time of this recording. And we recorded a second one, which probably won't air for many months. But if you like their music, go check that out. He does a really good job talking about every single song with a guest. And while I'm at it, I'm going to plug another They Might Be Giants podcast called Don't Let's Pod. That is also a very good podcast. They sort of take a different direction in how they attack the music. They kind of go album by album, but there's a ton of research that is done. It is very, very well done, and it's absolutely worth it. I think to get the full picture of who They Might Be Giants are, you really do need both podcasts. You get a wide range of information. All right, I've talked enough about that stuff. Let's get to the words. I wish I had an ad to throw in here. Lamps. Get one. All right, arcsine. ARCSINE. This is a noun from circa 1889. The inverse function of the sign, as in, if y is the sign of 0, I think that's a 0, it's got the line through it, but it's not the normal diagonal line, it's a horizontal line, and I think that's just how they do it in this dictionary. So let's start that over again. If y is the sign of 0, then 0 is the arcsine of y. Did you learn something? Now we have arctangent. This is a noun from circa 1889, the inverse function of the tangent, as in, if y is the tangent of 0, then 0 is the tangent of y. I feel like we had a déjà vu. Now we have the first form of the word Arctic, ARCTIC. This is an adjective from the 14th century. 1. Where did it go? This is often capitalized. Of or relating to or suitable for use at the North Pole or the region near it. We have 3 examples, as in Arctic waters, Arctic animals, and Arctic clothing. 2a, bitter cold. Synonym is frigid, as in Arctic air. 2b, cold in temper or mood, as in an Arctic smile. You don't want to get an Arctic smile from somebody. Let's look at the etymology. This is from the Middle English Arctic, Arctic, there's no C, A-R-T-I-C. That is from the Latin Arcticus, which is from the Greek Arctikos with Ks. That is from Arctos, A-R-K-T-O-S, which means bear, or Ursa Major, or north. And that is akin to the Latin Ursus, which means bear. And it also mentions the Sanskrit word that I'm not going to try and pronounce, but it looks like it's spelled R-K-S-A. The R and the S both look like they have a dot below them. So I'm assuming that sounds relatively similar to Ursus or something, but I don't know. Moving on to the second form of Arctic. This is a noun from 1867. A rubber overshoe reaching to the ankle or above. I don't think I've ever heard that before, or heard of that form. Now we have Arctic char, 2 words. This is a noun from circa 1902. A holarctic char of Arctic waters occurring in freshwater or anadromous populations. The scientific name is Salvelinus alpinus or alpinus. Now we have Arctic circle. This is a noun. It is often capitalized. It also says ANC, which could stand for Arctic Circle, but I don't know where the "and" comes from. So this is from 1622. The parallel of latitude that is approximately 66.5 degrees north of the equator and that circumscribes the northern frigid zone. And the opposite of that would be Antarctic. Now we have Arctic fox, and there is a picture. This is a noun from 1772. A small migratory holarctic fox, especially of coastal Arctic and alpine tundra. So I don't know where holarctic comes from. They basically added an HOL to the beginning of Arctic. Boy, I am stumbling over my words. So I may have to look that up and see what that is exactly. The scientific name is Alopex lagopus, Alopex lagopus. And as mentioned, there is a black and white drawing of an Arctic fox, which I guess is not that far off from reality, because I think the Arctic foxes are white, and most of it is white, except for some shading. All right, next we have Arctic hare. Sorry, there was a loud noise somewhere behind me, but I think it was upstairs because I'm in a basement, so that sort of threw me off. Arctic hare is 2 words. This is a noun from 1842. A gregarious hare of the tundra of Greenland and northern Canada that turns white in winter and is a major food source for Arctic predators, as wolves and snowy owls. Sorry, hares, you get eaten. But that's probably why you mate so quickly, because you get eaten up. And that sucks. Let's see, the scientific name is Lepus arcticus, Lepus. What was I going to say? Oh, why are they gregarious? Can you tell me? Do you know why Arctic hares are gregarious? Send me a message. Oh, I was just thinking this morning, I may actually start up an Instagram account. I didn't really think that there would be much of a point to it, but I guess technically it might help my exposure. I mean, come on. Not that I need help exposing the dictionary. Everybody knows about it. So yeah, I might do that. I don't know what I'll post on it, but I might do it. All right, next we have Arctic tern, Tern. This is a noun from 1844. A holarctic tern that breeds in Arctic regions and migrates to southern Africa and South America. The scientific name is Sterna paradisea. Now, let's see, how many words are we going to go? We'll do a couple more, a few more. All right, next we have Arcturus, capital Arcturus. This is a noun from, does it give me a year? It doesn't give me a year. This is a giant fixed star of the first magnitude in Bootes. How do you pronounce that word? Bootes, but the second O has an umlaut over it. So is it like Bootes? I don't know. Anybody, probably German, might know how to pronounce it. This is from the Greek Arcturos, which literally means bear watcher. There you go. I'm guessing the boots word why am I blanking on the word? The thing in the sky with the stars. I just talked about it like a few episodes ago. Anyway, let's move on to arcuate. Arcuate. There we go, arcuate. Arcuate. Constellation, that was the word. This is an adjective from 1626. Curved like a bow, as in an arcuate cloud. That's an interesting example. Arcuately is an adverb. And the etymology says this is from the Latin arcuatus, which is from the verb arcuare, which means to bend like a bow. And that is from arcus, which means bow. Ooh, there goes my stomach. I'm hungry. All right, we will do one more for this episode. It is a suffix spelled two different ways. I'm guessing that depends on what comes before it. It can either be ARD or ART, ard or art. Does not give me a year. It means one that is characterized by performing some action, possessing some quality, or being associated with something, especially conspicuously or excessively. We have three examples: braggart, dullard, pollard, Pollard. I have not heard of that one, so I'm curious. What does the etymology say? It says it is, I think, Germanic origin, akin to the Old High German hart, H-A-R-T, that's a suffix. And in parentheses it says, in personal names, such as Gerhard, which would be Gerard. The English-American whatever name of Gerhard is Gerard. That's kind of all it says there. And then this is from the Old English herd, H-E-A-R-D, which means hard, H-A-R-D. So that is it. What is going to be the word of the episode? I guess Arctic is a good one, since there were so many words related to that. And it's a fascinating place. I mean, it's super cold. There's not a lot really going on, but somehow there's able to be animals that live in these harsh conditions. So that's pretty interesting. That's going to end the episode. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, this is Spencer reading the dictionary. Goodbye. Hello, word nerds. Welcome to this episode of my podcast called The Dictionary. This is the last episode I'm recording, the end of page 65. It is a very sad day. Every page ends, but there will be a new page tomorrow, page 66. I don't know why I turned the page. I know the number comes after 65. I don't really know why I'm about to talk about this, but yeah. So recently I got access to a computer that has an old port so I can transfer old tapes that I recorded 15, 20 years ago, like high 8 tapes, mini DV tapes, stuff like that. It's been a very interesting process looking through footage that I recorded. Actually, some of it was from 91, so that was almost 30 years ago? Jesus. Yeah, almost 30 years ago. So clearly, it's been very interesting to look through that old stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I might put it up on YouTube. I put some other old home movies that I got digitized a long time ago from VHS tape. Yeah, anyway, that's been what I've been dealing with and working with over the last week, so it's just been on my mind. Let's get to the words. The first word is ardency, A-R-D-E-N-C-Y. This is a noun from 1549, the quality or state of being ardent. Which is our next word. It's an adjective from the 14th century. 1. Characterized by warmth of feeling, typically expressed in eager, zealous support or activity. As in, ardent proponents. Where did it go? Ardent proponents of the bill. Number 2. Synonyms are fiery and hot. As in, an ardent sun. Number 3. Synonyms are shining and glowing. Let's see, as in ardent eyes. I want to see eyes that are ardent. The synonym for all is impassioned. Ardently is an adverb. A little bit about the etymology. It is from the Latin verb ardere, which means to burn. Now we have ardent spirits. This is a noun. It's 2 words. It's from 1684. Strong distilled liquors. Now we have ardor, A-R-D-O-R. This is a noun from the 14th century. 1a, an often restless or transitory warmth of feeling, as in the sudden ardor of youth. No, there's an S. The sudden ardors of youth. 1b, extreme vigor or energy. Synonym is intensity. 1C just has the synonym zeal, Z-E-A-L. 1D has the synonym loyalty. Number 2, sexual excitement, ardor. Synonym for all is the word passion. And ardent had the synonym impassioned. Or impassioned. What? Impassioned. Yes. We just added a few letters on the beginning and the end. That was a terrible way to end that one. Now we have ardor, A-R-D-O-U-R, which is a chiefly British variation of A-R-D-O-R, which is what we just read. Now we have arduous. This is an adjective from 1538. 1A, hard to accomplish or achieve. Synonym is difficult, as in years of arduous training. 1B, marked by great labor or effort. Synonym is strenuous, as in a life of arduous toil, and that is from A.C. Cole. Number 2, hard to climb. Synonym is steep, as in an arduous path. Synonym for all definitions is the word hard, H-A-R-D. Arduously is an adverb, and arduousness is a noun. I think a lot of people think that this word starts with an H, but it doesn't, because we are in the A's. Next, we have the word R, A-R-E. It's the first form. The first one is very short. The first form. Let's see, present 2D singular. I don't know what that means, but it basically is just the synonym be, B-E. Like I be reading the dictionary, or I-R reading the dictionary. I think it's saying, now I'm going to have to figure this out. It's something about, it's the plural version of be. That's sort of the short form of it. So if you say we are reading the dictionary, that would make sense. I are reading the dictionary does not make sense. Now we have the second form of are. It's a noun from circa 1819. There is literally no definition, but it says, see the metric system table. The etymology says this is from the Latin area, A-R-E-A, so maybe it's a shorter version of area. I am baffled by this. But area is our next word, and I'm not sure if they're related, so we're just going to read it. This is a noun from 1538. 1, a level piece of ground. 2, the surface included within a set of lines, specifically the number of unit squares equal in measure to the surface. And then it says, see the metric system table. So yeah, the other one said see the metric system table too, so it's probably in there somewhere. Let's see. Oh, and it also says see the weight table. Weight, as in I weigh... No, never mind. Number 3, a scope of a concept, operation, or activity. Synonym is field, F-I-E-L-D, as in the whole area of foreign policy. 4, synonym is areaway, all one word. Number 5, a particular extent of space or surface or one serving a special function as, 5a, a part of the surface of the body. 5b, a geographic region. 6, a part of the cerebral cortex having a particular function. Aerial, with an L at the end, is an adjective, and aerially is an adverb. Now we have area code. This is a noun from 1961, a usually 3-digit number that identifies each telephone service area in a country as the U.S. or Canada. Now I'm going to tell you a story, and when it happened, I had a viewpoint of what was happening. I don't know if it's completely true, but I'll just tell you. When I was a kid, how do I describe this? Basically, we got a new area code, and at the time, I believed that we were one of the first area codes in the country, if not the very first area code in the country, that required you to type in the area code even if you were dialing the same area code. honestly, there's probably some areas where you don't need to do that. Still, to this day, you probably can still just dial your 7 numbers as long as you're calling the same area code and it's fine. But many years ago, we were required to dial the area code. And I think the reason was we actually got a second area code that overlapped the same area, and you needed to know which number you were calling. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Next, we have areaway. This is a noun from 1867, a sunken space affording access, air, and light to a basement. Now we have areca, A-R-E-C-A, could also be pronounced Erica or Arica. This is a noun from 1510, any of several tropical Asian palms, and then especially the synonym betel palm, B-E-T-E-L. Yeah, we'll skip that. Next we have arecoline, A-R-E-C-O-L-I-N-E. This is a noun from 1849. A toxic parasympathomimetic, let's try that again. A toxic parasympathomimetic alkaloid, C8H13NO2, that is used as a veterinary anthelimintic and occurs naturally in betel or betel nuts. I think I said that word correctly. Let me know if I did. Parasympathomimetic. Now we have arena. This is a noun from 1600. 1. An area in a Roman amphitheater for gladiatorial combats. 2a. An enclosed area used for public entertainment. 2b. A building containing an arena. 3a. A sphere of interest, activity, or competition, as in the political arena. Wouldn't you love to see the politicians battle it out like gladiators? 3b. A place or situation for controversy, as in the public arena. This is from Latin harina with an H at the beginning. Also the word arena, probably pronounced arena, maybe, I don't know. And that means sand or sandy place. Now we have arenaceous. This is an adjective from 1646. 1. Resembling, made of, or containing sand or sandy particles. How did arena related to sand become arena? Well, maybe when the Roman amphitheaters like the Colosseum were built, they just were, sand was the ground. So yeah, it seems like a weird word to use to name your amphitheater, but I guess that's what they did. So arenaceous is resembling, made of, or containing sand or sandy particles. 2. Growing in sandy places. Now we have arena football. This is a noun from 1986, a game resembling American football that is played on a shorter indoor field between 2 teams of 8 players each. And I feel like I've seen a clip of this. I think also the out-of-bounds areas have like padded walls, so you can't like run out like they can on the sidelines in regular football. And of course, when we say football, we mean American football, which is what the dictionary said. Now we have arena theater. This is a noun from 1943, and the synonym is theater in the round. And I'm going to flip the page and check something. Yes, arena theater is going to be the last word of the episode. It's 2 words. It's spelled the normal way. All right, what are we going to do? There were a lot of good words in here. Area code, ardor. Where did we leave off? Okay, so that to the bit to deep to. God, this is the hardest part. I have to make noises so there's no dead air. Let's just pick area code because that's a fun one. All right, until next time, this is Spencer reading the dictionary. Goodbye. Hello, word nerds. Welcome to a new episode of the dictionary. Let's see, today when I am recording this, it is October 14th, which in some parts of the country is Columbus Day, And in other parts of the country, it is Indigenous Peoples Day. And I completely forgot to mention this when I recorded the episode that was aired today, October 14th, as I mentioned. So I just want to wish you a happy Indigenous Peoples Day. I'm not going to mention Columbus Day again because some stuff happened, and it was not so good for the people, the Indigenous people. Okay, the first word for this episode is arenavirus. This is at the bottom of page 65, and we will be going on to the next page. So this is a noun. It's just the etymology on that page. We got to move to, this is a noun from 1971. Any of a family of a single-stranded RNA viruses having a dense outer lipid envelope covered in numerous club-shaped projections and including the causative agents of lymphocytic choriomeningitis and Lassa fever. The family mentioned at the beginning is Arenaviridae. And let's go back a page to look at the etymology, which is from the Latin arena, which means sand, plus virus. The Latin virus or virus is probably how they would pronounce it, which is from the fine granules seen in cross-sections of the virion. So I guess it's not typically the word virus that you think of, although I guess it could be. I was a little confused by that definition, if you couldn't tell. Now we have arene or urine. It is spelled A-R-E-N-E. This is a noun from 1956, an aromatic hydrocarbon as benzene or naphthalene, N-A-P-H-T-H-A-L-E-N-E. I think you can see why I was thrown off there. All right, now we have Areneicolous. Sure? Areneicolous. A-R-E-N-I-C-O-L-O-U-S. Areneicolous. This is an adjective from circa 1859, living, burrowing, or growing in sand. And now, well, from the last episode, now I know that the A-R-E-N prefix means sand. I probably won't remember that, but I do know it. So living, burrowing, or growing in sand. So there's a lot of creatures that live in the sand, so they are areneicolous. Next, we have aren't. You don't usually see these conjunctions in the dictionary. A-R-E-N apostrophe T. This is from 1675. 1. The definition is are not, as in they aren't here yet. Number 2, am not. It is used in questions, as in I'm right. Whoa, that came out weird. I'm right, aren't I? Now we have areola. This looks like it has, well, no, it just has one. Anyway, this is a noun from 1664. A small area between things or about something, especially a colored ring as about the nipple, a vesicle, or a pustule. So this is just a general term for a small area between things or about something. I think you could also say around something. I'm not entirely sure. But areolar, I think that's how it would be pronounced, is an adjective. And areolate or areolate is an adjective. Yeah, these are words, people. This is not an explicit podcast. These are just words in the dictionary. Now we have areole, A-R-E-O-L-E. This is a noun from circa 1934. A round or elongated, often raised or depressed area on a cactus, which is equivalent to a bud and from which spines, flowers, stems, or roots grow. Now we have the word Areopagite. That's not how it's pronounced. Areopagite. Areopagite. Or jit. Areopagite. Oh boy, this is complicated. So many possible ways to pronounce this word. Areopagite. I'm just going to go with that one. capital A, Reopagite. This is a noun from the 14th century, a member of the Areopagus, and Areopagitic is an adjective. I hope that Areopagus is the next word. Oh, look at that, it is. This is a noun from 1586. I'm looking to see if I missed any etymologies. I don't think I did. All right, Areopagus, the Supreme Tribunal of Athens. And the etymology says this is from Greek Areos Pagos, that's two separate words, from Areos Pagos. Well, it's the same thing. Why'd you... I hate it when they do that. It's the same word and they put it twice. Areos Pagos literally means hill of Ares. That is a hill in Athens where the tribunal met. So there you have it. Now we have arepa. Arepa. I think that's how it's pronounced. Arepa. This is a noun from 1925, a usually grilled cornmeal cake served in Latin American cuisine. So the etymology says this is American Spanish, probably from Cumaná, which is a Caribbean language of the Venezuela coast. Arepa, E-R-E-P-A, is cornmeal cake, or from a cognate Caribbean form. Yeah, that's where it's from. Now we have Ares, or Uris, capital A-R-E-S. This is a noun from 1681, the Greek god of war. Compare to the word Mars, and I think Mars is the Roman god of war. I don't think they're... I don't know. I should know this. I don't think they're a different person. I think they're just different names for the same person. So this one is Ares. And sorry, I had something in my teeth that I had to get out. Now we have arete. I think that's how it's pronounced. It is spelled A-R-E-T-E, and the first E has an accent on it, which looks like, I guess you would say, a little hat. It's one of those pointy pieces. Arete. All right, let's talk about arete. This is a noun from 1838, a sharp-crested ridge in rugged mountains. This is French, and it literally means fishbone. And it is from the Latin arista, which is a beard of grain. Sure. Now we have Arethusa, or Arethusa, capital A-R-E-T-H-U-S-A. This is a noun from 1513, a wood nymph who is changed into a spring, while fleeing the advances of the river god Alpheus. How is he changed into a spring, or she? I don't know. It's probably she. A wood nymph who is changed into a spring while fleeing the advances of the river god Alpheus. I need to look more into this. Is it literally a spring? Oh, it's probably like a spring, like a creek or something? Or is it like a spring, a boing boing spring? I'm not sure. Now we have ARG, ARG. This is an abbreviation for 1, argent, or is it argent? Number 2, argument. We have ARG again with a capital A. This is an abbreviation for Argentina. G can be G or J, and it can be weird if you're talking about a word that you don't know. All right, how many more are we going to do? Just a few. Next is argali, A-R-G-A-L-I. This is a noun from circa 1774, a large wild sheep of Central Asia with the ram having massive horns. The wild sheep scientific name is Ovis ammon, A-M-M-O-N, and it just says this is a Mongolian word, argali. Next we have argon, or actually I think it's argon diagram, capital A-R-G-A-N-D, second word, diagram. This is a noun from 1908, a system of rectangular coordinates in which the complex number x plus iy is represented by the point whose coordinates are x and y. You science math people know what this is. This is from Jean Robert Argand, or Jean, however he pronounces his name. He died in 1825. He was a Swiss mathematician. Now we have argent, A-R-G-E-N-T. This is a noun from the 15th century. One is archaic, and it means the metal silver. Also, the synonym whiteness. What? Number 2, the heraldic color silver or white. Argent is also an adjective. The etymology says this is from the Greek argyros, which means silver, and argos, it means white, and the Sanskrit rajata or rahata, which means whitish or silvery. And I think we will do one more for this episode. It is the fun word argentiferous. I knew you would like that one. A-R-G-E-N-T-I-F-E-R-O-U-S. This is an adjective from 1801, and it means containing silver. So I will try to remember that the prefix A-R-G-E-N-T means silvery or whitish. So yeah, that is the end of the episode. Sorry for struggling through some of these. It's hard to pick one. There's part of me that wants to pick areola just because I feel like there's a lot of censorship these days. There's a lot of women. I see a lot of celebrity women, usually comedians, posting things on Instagram that says free the nipple. So part of me is very tempted to post a picture on Instagram, which I now have an Instagram of an areola, I guess. But then there's another part of me that thinks that might be stepping over a line. But maybe I need to step over a line to make some change in this world. I don't know. But I guess the backup word of the episode will be argentiferous because that is an amazingly fun word to say. All right, that's the end of the episode. Thank you and goodbye. Hello, word nerds, and welcome to me talking to you in this new episode of the dictionary. I don't know how much you want to hear about my personal life, but I'm going to tell you something that I did just because I thought it was kind of important, an important thing to pass along. So on Saturday, 2 days ago, I'm recording this on Monday, October 14th, and 2 days ago, we went to, along with some friends, we went to the opening night event for Chicago Ideas Week. And it's a week going on right now where a lot of people talk about ideas. That's the best description I could give because I don't really know all the details or all the people who are talking and what they're talking about. But the people who were speaking during the Saturday night opening event were all really great. But two in particular I wanted to talk about. The first one, who was the reason why we went in the first place, was David Lynch. And he is an amazing artist. That's kind of just the best way to describe him. He's made TV shows, and he's a filmmaker, but he's also a painter and a sculptor, and he just, as in his own words, he literally lives the art life, and he's been very lucky to do that. Most of what he talked about was meditation. I'm not going to get into that other than just to say I think it is really beneficial for every single person to just sit quietly once or twice a day, eyes closed, for 10 to 30 minutes, anywhere in between there, and it just really helps to reset yourself. You don't need to, you don't need to do anything. You don't need to have a mantra or a breathing exercise or anything. Just sit there and reset yourself, and I'm going to try and do that this afternoon. But the other person that I wanted to talk about was Pete Holmes. He is a comedian who's great. I think he's very funny. He's very exuberant and crazy, but he's also very funny. And the one thing that I want to pass along that he said was, I'll put it in as short a way as I can, which is basically accept and be gracious for every moment of your life, whether it's positive or negative. And it's really easy to be gracious for the positive stuff, but we're not gracious. We're not grateful for the negative stuff. So even in those moments, always just say to yourself or out loud or whatever, yes, thank you. Be appreciative for every moment in your life, no matter what it is, because it's there for a reason, and I think it will help you if you just appreciate it. And I appreciate these words that I am about to read, so let's get into them. First word is Argentine, Argentine. This is the first form of two. It's an adjective from the 15th century, and it means silver or silvery. In fact, those are synonyms. And that's very much related to the last couple words in the last episode. Now we have the second form of Argentine. This is a noun from 1577. Synonym is silver, and then it says also any of various similar materials. Again, I'm not really sure why they couldn't combine these into one, but they didn't, so we're going to move on. Next, we have argentite. This is a noun from circa 1868, a dark gray or black mineral of metallic luster that consists of native sulfide of silver and is a valuable silver ore. Next, we have argil, Argil. This is a noun from the 14th century. We have the synonym clay, especially the synonym potter's clay. The etymology, it says argos, the Greek word argos, which means white. So maybe potter's clay is white. I did a little bit of pottery and ceramic work when I was a kid, and then I took a ceramics class in high school. I didn't really get too in-depth with it, but I made a really cool mask. If you've ever seen the movie The Mask with Jim Carrey, or is it just called Mask? I think it's The Mask, because mask is a different word. I recreated the mask that he has in that movie, and I actually think it turned out pretty damn good. All right, next we have argillaceous. Yeah, that's how it's pronounced. Argillaceous. This is an adjective from circa 1731 of relating to or containing clay or clay minerals. And this synonym is a good one. It is, God, this sounds like something I would have made up. It is the word clayey. Excuse me. Clayey. I had no idea that was a real word. Now we have argillite. This is a noun. A noun? From 1795. I'm guessing it has to do with clay again. A compact argillaceous rock cemented by silica and having no slatty or slaty cleavage. Oh boy, Mark would have a field day with that one. All right, next we have arginase. This is a noun from 1904, a crystalline enzyme that converts naturally occurring arginine into ornithine and urea. Golly, those are some scientific words. Sorry about that. Next we have arginine. Yep, that was in the previous definition. This is a noun from 1886, a crystalline or crystalline basic amino acid, C6H14N4O2, derived from guanidine or guanidine. Next we have argive or argive, capital ARGIVE. This is an adjective from 1598 of or relating to the Greeks or Greece, and especially the Archaean city of Argos, or the surrounding territory of Argolis. And if we look back to the previous episode, I think there was something related to this. What was it? Oh, yes, it was the Areopagite or Areopagus. That is the Supreme Tribunal of Athens. All right, argive is also a noun, and that's good for that. Next is a fun one. It is the word argle-bargle. You heard me. There is a hyphen in between argle and bargle. This is a noun from 1872. It is chiefly British. Haha, and the synonym is argy-bargy. These are just fun. We're having a good time, aren't we, people? Let's see. The etymology, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to understand this exactly. I guess argle is an alternative of the word argue. But other than that, I don't know what it's saying. So we are going to move on to argo, capital A-R-G-O. This is a noun from 1565. A large constellation in the southern hemisphere, lying principally between Canis Major and the Southern Cross. I don't know my constellation so good, but that's one of them. Next we have argol, A-R-G-O-L. This is a noun from the 14th century. Crude tartar deposited in wine casks during aging. I don't think that is the tartar sauce that you dip your fish into, or it's not the tartar that goes on your teeth, but tartar must be a word, a general word that is used for, something that's left behind. Deposited, in this case, it's deposited in wine casks during aging, and on your teeth, it's deposited after you eat, and you brush away as much as you can when you brush your teeth. By the way, are you brushing your teeth regularly? Are you flossing regularly? Are you going to the dentist regularly? If not, you should probably do those things because you should take care of your teeth. This message brought to you by my teeth. Next, we have argon. This is a noun from 1894. A colorless, odorless, inert gaseous element found in the air and in volcanic gases and used especially in welding, lasers, and electric bulbs. And it tells me to see the element table. Which element is it? Do you know off the top of your head? Because I don't. This is from Greek, or it is a Greek word. It's the neutral of argos. Argon. Yep, that's our word. Argos means idle or lazy, and that is from a plus ergon, which means work. So it's the opposite of that. And that is from its relative inertness. So I guess that means it just doesn't really do much. It's lazy and idle. And there's more at the word work. All right, now we have Argonaut. There is a movie called Jason and the Argonauts, and I think this is related to that. Yep. Okay, this is a noun from the 14th century. 1A is capitalized. Any of a band of heroes sailing with Jason in quest of the Golden Fleece. 1B, an adventurer engaged in a quest. 2, we have the synonym paper nautilus. Go see the movie Jason and the Argonauts. I think there might be a few of them, but the first one in particular, it's from the 60s maybe. Ray Harryhausen did the stop-motion animation for it, and it is awesome, especially the fight with the skeletons. You should check it out. Let's see. This is from the Greek argonautes, which is from the word argo, which is a ship in which the Argonauts sailed. And then so it's argo plus nautes, N-A-U-T-E-S, which means sailor. And there's more at the word nautical. Next we have argosy, A-R-G-O-S-Y. This is a noun from 1581. 1, a large ship, especially a large merchant ship, as in, 3 of your argosies are come to harbor. There was an ellipses in the middle, but yes, that is the quote from Shakespeare. Good old Shakespeare. Number 2, a fleet of ships. 3, a rich supply, as in an argosy of railway folklore, and that is from F.P. Donovan. The etymology says this is modified of the Italian ragusia, which is a Ragusan vessel, and that is from Ragusa, which is Dalmatia, which is now Dubrovnik, Croatia. I don't really understand what it's saying, but it's basically saying it's a vessel of some kind. Next we have argot or argot. A couple versions are acceptable. Argot. This is a noun from 1842, and often more or less secret vocabulary and idiom peculiar to a particular group, as in shoved into a taxi by a porter whose argot I couldn't understand. And that is from Alan Tate. Argot is the first pronunciation, but it does look like argot is another one. Next, we have arguable. This is an adjective from circa 1611. 1. Open to argument, dispute, or question. Number 2. That can be plausibly or convincingly argued. Next, we have arguably. This is an adverb from 1890, as may be argued or shown by argument, as in an arguably effective strategy. Also as in arguably the greatest writer of his era. And obviously, they're talking about me. Next and last word for this episode is argue. A-R-G-U-E. This is a verb from the 14th century. It looks like we are going to start with the intransitive definitions. There are 2. Number 1, to give reasons for or against something. Synonym is reason, as in argue for a new policy. Number 2, to contend or disagree in words. Synonym is dispute, as in argue about money. Oh, it's never good when you argue about money, is it? All right, now we have the transitive definitions. Number 1, to give evidence of. Synonym is indicate, as in the facts argue his innocence. Number 2, to consider the pros and cons of. Synonym is discuss, as in argue an issue. Number 3, to prove or try to prove by giving reasons. Synonym is maintain, as in asking for a chance to argue his case. Number 4, to persuade by giving reasons. Synonym is induce, as in couldn't argue her out of going. And we have a final synonym for all of them. It is again the word discuss. Arguer is a noun. And let's look at the etymology. Let's see, this is from Anglo-French arguer, which means to reprove or argue, and it's from Latin arguere, which means to demonstrate or prove. Also from arguere, which we already read, from Latin argutare, which means to prate, P-R-A-T-E. Frequently of arguere, which is akin to the Hittite. Is that Hittite? Is that the language? Which is the word arcui, which means to plead or respond. So that is it for the words. We are definitely going to give it to argle-bargle, which the synonym is, if you don't remember, argy-bargy, because, I think it's pretty clear. All right, thank you very much for listening to this ridiculous podcast. Send me a message on Instagram, follow me. I post stupid pictures. I've got a Twitter and a Facebook and an email. Say hi, and I'm going to say bye. Hello, you are called a word nerd, and I guess I am too because I'm reading lots of words in the dictionary. So, thank you for joining me. The first word for the episode is argufy. A-R-G-U-F-Y. This is an interesting word. It's a verb from 1698. The transitive definition just has 2 synonyms. They are dispute and debate. The intransitive definition is the synonym wrangle, W-R-A-N-G-L-E. Argufier is a noun. I don't really understand why it's argufy. I would have thought that if you're going to argufy something, you'd turn it into an argument. I don't know. I want to hear an example. If you've ever used this word in your day-to-day language, send me an email and let me know what it was. Now we have the word argument. This is a noun from the 14th century. 1 is obsolete. An outward sign. Synonym is indication. 2a, a reason given in proof or rebuttal. 2b, discourse intended to persuade. 3a, the act or process of arguing. Synonym is argumentation. 3b, a coherent series. Let's start that one over again because I lost my place. A coherent series of statements leading from a premise to a conclusion. 3c, we have the synonyms quarrel and disagreement. 4, an abstract or summary, especially of a literary work, as in an argument preceded the poem. Number 5, the subject matter, especially of a literary work. 6a, one of the independent variables upon whose value that of a function depends. 6b, a substantive as the direct object of a transitive verb that is required by a predicate in grammar. 6c, we have the forward definition for the word amplitude. And that is it for the definitions for argument, and I don't think I need to say anything in the etymology. Next, we have argumentation. This is a noun from the 15th century. 1, the act or process of forming reasons and of drawing conclusions and applying them to a case in discussion. Number 2, we have the synonyms debate and discussion. Now we have argumentative. Could also be argumentive. This is an adjective from the 15th century. 1, characterized by argument. Synonym is controversial. Number 2, given to argument. Synonym is disputatious. That's a fun word. Argumentatively is an adverb. Now we have argumentum. This is a noun from 1550. Looks like it could also be argumenta, or that's the plural of argumentum. So the definition for this is just the 3b definition for the word argument, which, since I have it handy, is a coherent series of statements leading from a premise to a conclusion. Now we have argus, capital A-R-G-U-S. This is a noun from the 14th century. 1, a hundred-eyed monster of Greek mythology. Number 2, a watchful guardian. I'm pretty sure that's kind of the same thing, but something could be a watchful guardian and not have 100 eyes and still be called an argus. And this is from the Greek Argos, which I think is the name of the city. Sure. Next we have argus-eyed. There's a hyphen. This is an adjective from 1603. Vigilantly observant. So if you are vigilantly observant, you are argus-eyed. Ooh, here's the fun word that we had in the last episode. It is argy-bargy. This, am I pronouncing it correctly? I think it's argy-bargy, actually. Oh, it could be either argy-bargy or argy-bargy. Which one do I like more? Ooh, that's a hard decision. I'll have to say them again, but I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to say that this is a noun from 1887. It is chiefly British, and it is, we finally get a real definition. It is a lively discussion. Synonyms are argument and dispute. Oh, I was about to do a British accent, but I probably shouldn't do that. We're having a real argy-bargy. Let's see. Next, we have argyle. Could be spelled A-R-G-Y-L-E or A-R-G-Y-L-L. This is a noun, often capitalized, from 1899. A geometric knitting pattern of varicolored, that's V-A-R-I, colored, I think that means multicolored, diamonds. Let's do that again, because that was a terrible way to read this sentence. A geometric knitting pattern of varicolored diamonds in solid and outline shapes on a single background color. Also, a sock knit in this pattern. I'm pretty sure Bert from Sesame Street wears Argyle socks. So this is from Argyle, which is a branch of the Scottish clan of Campbell, or Campbell, from whose tartan the design was adapted. Next, we have our hat. Is that our hat? No, it's your hat. It's wee hat. This is A-R-H-A-T. This is a noun from 1870. A Buddhist who has reached the stage of enlightenment. Arhatship is a noun. I want to see a picture of an arhatship. So this is Sanskrit from arhati, which means he deserves, and it's akin to the Greek alphein, which means to gain. I've never heard of this term before. I think that's kind of interesting. I might need to look more into that. Hey, Spencer, when you're editing this, and rather when you say editing, you mean listening to this, go look up arhat, and then draw a picture of an arhat ship. Next, we have Arya, A-R-I-A. This is not the character from Game of Thrones, but she's awesome. This is a noun from 1723. The synonyms are air, melody, and tune. Specifically, an accompanied elaborate melody sung, as in an opera, by a single voice. You see this word a lot in crossword puzzles. Number 2, a striking solo performance, as in a movie. This is Italian. It literally means atmospheric air, and it's a modified form of the Latin word air, A-E-R. Now we have Ariadne, capital A-R-I-A-D-N-E. This is a noun from the 14th century, a daughter of Minos, who helps Theseus escape from the labyrinth. That's who it is. Now we have Aryan, capital A-R-I-A-N. This is the first form of 3. This is an adjective from the 14th century, of or relating to Arius or his doctrines, especially that the Son is not of the same substance as the Father, but was created as an agent for creating the world. And if you couldn't tell from the context, Son is capital S-O-N. Arianism is a noun. Now we have the second form of Arian. This is a noun from the 14th century, and it means a supporter of Arian doctrines. And here we have the third and final form of Arian. This is a noun from 1917, and we have the 1B definition for the word Aries, which looks like that will be in the next episode. So that'll be a problem for future me. Not a problem. All right, and lastly, for this episode, we have the suffix Arian, so dash or hyphen, A-R-I-A-N. This is a noun, and number 1 means believer, as in necessitarian. What's a necessitarian? Is it a believer, or is it a believer in necessary things? I don't know. Also, still in the number 1 definition, we have the word advocate, as in latitudinarian. These weird examples do not help me at all. Number 2, definition is producer, as in disciplinarian. I've heard of that word before. So that's the end. I should not pick argy-bargy as the word of the episode because I picked argle-bargle in the last one. So I'm going to pick Argus because I think a 100-eyed monster is very cool. That is it for this episode. How's this no editing thing going? Terribly? I agree, but we're going to keep on doing it until I don't feel like it anymore. That's it. Thank you for listening. Tell your friends. Tell yourself. Tell your mother. And goodbye. Hello, word nerds. How are you today? I'm doing fine. What's up? Today is October 23rd, but not while I'm recording this. First word for this episode is aeriary. I really like saying that. Aeriary. I think the emphasis is on the third syllable. Aeriary. It is spelled A-R-I-A-R-Y. This is a noun from 1979, and it just says, see the money table. But the etymology says that this is Malagasy. Is that from... Where is that from? I don't know. But it is a 5-franc note. And a franc is a piece of money. Now we have ariboflavinosis. Let's double check if I said that correctly. Ariboflavinosis. Ariboflavinosis. This is a noun from 1939. A deficiency disease due to inadequate intake of riboflavin and characterized by sores on the mouth. Let's move away from that. Now we have arid. This is an adjective from 1652. 1. Excessively dry, specifically having insufficient rainfall to support agriculture. Number 2. Lacking in interest and life. Synonym is a word I do not know. I am going to pronounce it this way. Jejune. Jejune. Apologies if I completely butchered a word that you are very familiar with. Aridity is a noun, and aridness is also a noun. The etymology says this is from the Latin aridus, which is from the verb arere, which means to be dry, and that is akin to the Sanskrit asa, which means ash, and the Old English asce, A-S-C-E. Again, pronunciation is bad. Now we have aerial, capital A-R-I-E-L. This is a noun from circa 1612, a prankish spirit in Shakespeare's The Tempest. I haven't seen it. Now we have Aries with a capital A. This is a noun from before the 12th century. 1A, the first sign of the zodiac in astrology. See the zodiac table. 1B, one born under the sign of Aries. And I think, if I go back to the previous episode, yes, Aryan was the 1B definition. So that you could also say that one born under the sign of Aries is an Aryan. Number 2, a constellation between Pisces and Taurus, pictured as a ram. This is Latin, literally means ram, or perhaps akin to the Greek eriphos, which means kid, possibly from the Old Irish herp, H-E-I-R-P, which means she-goat. Now we have arietta, A-R-I-E-T-T-A. This is a noun from circa 1724, a short aria. Look back to the last episode for the definition of aria. This is Italian, and it is the diminutive of aria. Now we have aright, A-R-I-G-H-T. There's no L, like it looks like it could be. This is an adverb from before the 12th century. Synonyms are right and correctly, as in, if I remember aright. I don't think anybody has ever said that phrase. Now we have arikara. Arikara, I think that's how it's pronounced. Capital A-R-I-K-A-R-A. This is a noun from 1811. 1. A member of an American Indian people of the Missouri River Valley in North Dakota. 2. The language of the Arikara. This is probably from a Pawnee name for an Arikara band. And I don't think they mean band like musicians. I think they mean like a band of people, just a group of people. Now we have Aril or Earl. It is spelled A-R-I-L. This is a noun from 1794. An exterior covering or appendage of some... I feel like I did this wrong. Let's try it again. But I don't think I did. An exterior covering... Oh, I get it. Okay. It's an exterior covering or appendage of some seeds as of the Y-E-W, that develops after fertilization as an outgrowth from the ovule stalk. Arelate is an adjective. And this is probably from the New Latin aurelus, which is from the Middle Latin, which means raisin or grapeseed. Now we have arioso, A-R-I-O-S-O. This is a noun from circa 1724, a musical passage or composition having a mixture of free recitative, and metrical song. This is Italian from the word aria. Now we have arise, or arose, or arisen, or arising, so many other forms. This is a verb, yep, from before the 12th century. 1, to get up, synonym is rise. 2a, to originate from a source. 2b, to come into being or to attention. 3, the synonym is ascend. And finally, we have another synonym for everything. It is the word spring. Let's see. Do we want to talk about that at all? This is from the Old English arisan, which is from a, which means perfective prefix, plus risan, R-I-S-A-N, which means to rise, and there's more at the word abide. The dude abides. That was terrible. Now we have arista. This is a noun from 1691, a bristle-like structure or appendage. Aristate is an adjective. The etymology says this is Latin beard of grain. We've seen that recently. Now we have aristo. This is a noun from 1864. We have the synonym aristocrat. Next is aristocracy. This is a noun from 1561. 1. Government by the best individuals or by a small privileged class. 2a. A government in which power is vested in a minority consisting of those believed to be best qualified. 2b. A state with such a government. 3. A governing body or upper class usually made up of a hereditary nobility. 4. The aggregate of those believed to be superior. The etymology says nothing that we are going to talk about today. Now we have the word aristocrat. This is a noun from 1789. 1. A member of an aristocracy, especially the synonym noble. 2a. One who has the bearing and viewpoint typical of the aristocracy. 2b. One who favors aristocracy. 3. One believed to be superior of its kind, as in the aristocrat of southern resorts. And that is from something called Southern Living. It could be a book, it could be a magazine, it could be a journal, it could be somebody's diary, I don't know. All right, here we go with the very last word for this episode. It is aristocratic. Aristocratic. This is an adjective from 1602. 1. Belonging to, having the qualities of, or favoring aristocracy. 2a. Socially exclusive, as in an aristocratic neighborhood. 2b. We have the synonym snobbish, and aristocratically is an adverb. As if you've heard things that I've said in the past, of course, I strongly recommend that you go way back to the beginning of this podcast and start from the beginning if you're just jumping in the middle. But you've heard me say a lot of things that you will probably assume that I am not a big fan of the aristocracy or aristocrats. So yeah, that's just my opinion. Let's see, what are we going to pick for the word of the episode? Ariboflavinosis is a good word. But what did I have a strong feel? Well, I mean, I guess aristocrat. I have a strong feeling about that. It's, I don't even know what to say about this one. Let's just bring the people together. I get that some people are going to be, maybe have more money or have more power, but it can be taken too far. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to stop recording, and in the next episode, I'm still not sure. It will either be me or it will be somebody else. We shall find out when October 24th comes along. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, this is Spencer reading the dictionary. Goodbye. Hello, word nerds, and welcome to this episode of the dictionary. I'm still trying to think of more clever things to say for that part, but I will tell you that I must love Indigenous Peoples Day a lot because I now mentioned it twice. I mentioned it in the October 15th episode, the day after Indigenous Peoples Day / Columbus Day. And then I mentioned it again within the last few episodes. I can't remember which one exactly. I completely forgot that I actually did mention it, which is why I mentioned it again. And now I'm mentioning it a third time. So let's get to the words. I don't think I have any holidays to talk about. Not yet, at least. All right, the first word is Aristotelian, capital Aristotelian. It could also be Aristotelian with a Lean at the end. This is an adjective from 1581 of or relating to the Greek philosopher Aristotle or his philosophy. Aristotelian is also a noun, and Aristotelianism is also a noun. And yeah, it's from Aristotle. I should probably know a little bit more about what he talked about, but I don't. All right, next we have arith, Arith. This is an abbreviation for arithmetic or arithmetical. Sounds, I heard the word medical in there, but it's not. It's Metical, arithmetical. And now we have arithmetic. This is a noun from the 15th century, 1a, a branch of mathematics that deals usually with the non-negative real numbers, including sometimes the transfinite cardinals, and with the application of the operations of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division to them. 1b, a treatise or a treatise on arithmetic. Number 2, we have the synonyms computation and calculation. That reminds me of calculon from Futurama. I don't think he talked like that, though. Did he? Maybe he did. Actually, I think he kind of did. All right, arithmetic is, or arithmetical, are adjectives, and arithmetically is an adverb, and arithmetician is a noun. Let's look at the etymology. Should we talk about it? We can say that the word arithmene, I think that's Greek, means to count. Arithmos is number, and it's akin to the Old English rim, R-I-M, which means number, and perhaps the Greek areriskine, which means to fit, F-I-T. All right, now we have arithmetic mean, two separate words. That's not numbers that beat you up. They're not mean. That was a terrible joke. This is a noun from 1743. A value that is computed. What? A value that is computed by dividing the sum of a set of terms by the number of terms. Now we have arithmetic or arithmetic progression. That's the way you say it. This is a noun from 1704, a progression as 3, 5, 7, 9, in which the difference between any term and its predecessor is constant. Now we have arithmetic scale. This is a noun from 1897, a scale on which the value of a point corresponds to the number of graduations the point is from the scale's 0, compared to logarithmic scale. All right, next we have a suffix. It is arium, A-R-I-U-M. Could be ariums, plural. Plural version could also be area, A-R-I-A. This is a thing or place relating to or connected with, as in planetarium. That's where you learn about mice. Nope, not wrong. What am I talking about? You learn about the cosmos and the planets and the stars and things like that. I just had a little brain fart there. Okay, next is ARIZ, capital A-R-I-Z. This is an abbreviation for Arizona. Next is ARK, A-R-K. This is a noun from before the 12th century. Well, if the Bible is true, then it was way, way, way before the 12th century. 1a, a boat or ship held to resemble that in which Noah and his family were preserved from the flood. And flood is capitalized, capital F. 1b, something that affords protection and safety. 2a, the sacred chest representing to the Hebrews the presence of God among them. 2b, a repository traditionally in or against the wall of a synagogue for the scrolls of the Torah. The etymology says this is from Old English arc, A-R-C, from the Latin arca, which means chest, and that is akin to arcere, which means to hold off or defend, and that is from the Greek archein, and the is that Hittite? Again, I haven't looked into it. Hark, H-A-R-K, which means to have or hold. Interesting that people usually say that at a wedding, to have and to hold. All right, that is it for ARC. But now we have ARC again with a capital A. This is an abbreviation for Arkansas. Now we have Arcose, A-R-K-O-S-E. This is a noun from 1829, a sandstone characterized by feldspar fragments that is derived from granite or gneiss, G-N-E-I-S-S, which has disintegrated rapidly. Arcosic is an adjective. All right, we are going to do one more word for this episode. It is the word arm, A-R-M. It's a long one, and it is the first form of 3. We're going to skip forms number 2 and 3 for the next episode, or we're going to hold them off until the next episode. Hold me back. All right, arm. This is a noun from before the 12th century. 1, a human upper limb, especially the part between the shoulder and the wrist. Number 2, something like or corresponding to an arm, as 2a, the forelimb of a vertebrate. 2b, a limb of an invertebrate animal. 2c, a branch or lateral shoot of a plant. 2d, a slender part of a structure, machine, or an instrument projecting from a main part, axis, or fulcrum. 2e, the end of a ship's yard, also the part of an anchor from the crown to the fluke. See the anchor illustration. And this is old news to us. We've already seen the anchor illustration. We know what they're talking about here. All right, 2f, any of the usually 2 parts of a chromosome lateral to the centromere. 3, an inlet of water, as from the sea. 4, a narrow extension of a larger area, mass, or group. 5, we have the synonyms power and might, M-I-G-H-T, as in the long arm of the law. 6, support, as on a chair, for the elbow and forearm. 7, we have the synonym sleeve. 8, I lost my place. The ability to throw or pitch a ball well. Also, a player having such ability. I'm going to throw in my own example here. Wow, that baseball pitcher has such a great arm on him. He can really toss that baseball to that other person who catches it. Number 9, a functional division of a group, organization, institution, or activity, as in the logistical arm of the Air Force. And armless is an adjective. So that is the end of this episode. I have told you all of the words that I was supposed to tell you, and I'm killing time until I pick a word of the episode, and I am going to pick arcose because it's a cool word. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, this is Spencer reading the dictionary. Goodbye. Hello, word nerds. You are very awesome in my book because you have decided to join me on this journey where I read the dictionary. If you are new, if this is the first episode you are listening to, I was just about to say reading. If this is the first episode you are listening to, please go back to the beginning and start there because this truly is a journey. You really, really do need to start it from the beginning. I've never said that before, have I? No, I think I have. All right, we are going to get to the words. We are going to start with the second form of arm, A-R-M. This is a verb from the 12th century. Transitive verb forms are first. 1, to furnish or equip with weapons. 2, To furnish with something that strengthens or protects, as in arming citizens with the right to vote. Number 3. To equip or ready for action or operation, as in arm a bomb. Now we have the intransitive definition. It is to prepare oneself for struggle or resistance, as in arm for combat. And the etymology says, you know what? I think I skipped the etymology in the first form. Let's just look at that real quick. That is from the Old English earm, E-A-R-M, don't know how it's pronounced, which is akin to the Latin armis, which means shoulder, and the Sanskrit irma, which means arm. And let's see if this second form has any new information for us. Let's see, from the Latin armare, which is from arma, which means weapons or tools, and that is akin to the Latin ars, A-R-S, which means skill, from Greek harmos, which means joint, and arariskin, we read that in a previous word, that means to fit, F-I-T. So yeah, these are slightly different than the previous arm etymology because this one has to do with weapons and such. All right, now we have the third form of arm. This is a noun from the 13th century. 1a, a means as a weapon of offense or defense. I should say of offense or defense, especially the synonym firearm. 1b, a combat branch as of an army, and that's the end of that one. 1c, an organized branch of national defense as the Navy. 2 is plural. 2a, or I should say all of the 2 definitions, there's only 2 of them, and in fact all of the 3 definitions are plural. So here we go with 2a, the hereditary heraldic devices of a family. 2b, heraldic devices adopted by a government. 3a, active hostilities. Synonym is warfare, as in a call to arms. 3b, military service. And now we have a phrase, it is up in arms, and that means aroused and ready to undertake a fight or conflict. While I was reading these definitions, I was reminded of the, I don't even know what to call it. There are a lot of hotels that have the word arms in them. I think there was one reference in a Coen Brothers movie. I think it was like the Barton Arms Hotel or apartment complex or something like that. And I've always been curious where that term came from. Why did they use the word arms in there? And I don't really know if the first form of arm really gave me that information so much. I didn't notice anything. Nothing jumped out at me. So I may have to do a little extra looking on that. All right. Next, we have arm with a capital A. This is an abbreviation for Armenian. Now we have ARM, all caps. This is an abbreviation for adjustable rate mortgage. Now we have armada. This is a noun from 1533. 1. A fleet of warships. 2. A large force or group, usually of moving things. And this is Spanish from Middle Latin. I was about to say Little Matin. From armata with a A-R-M-A-T-A, which means army or fleet. And that is from, that is the feminine, Latin feminine of armatus, which is from the verb armare, which means to arm. And yes. Next, we have armadillo, an amazing, cute little animal. This is a noun from 1577, any of a family of burrowing, edentate mammals found from the... I feel like I want to start this one over. Any of a family of burrowing edentate mammals found from the southern U.S. to Argentina and having the body and head encased in an armor of small bony plates. This shows a little picture of an armadillo. I can't imagine that you would have never seen a picture of one of these, but if you want to see it, go Google it, or go to a zoo, or go to the southern U.S., to Argentina. Yeah, I actually recently saw a quick little video of an armadillo quickly rolling up into a ball to protect itself. And I think, if I remember correctly, it literally just kind of jumps in the air, and in midair, it curls into a ball and then just lands. It's all happens in like a split second. But yeah, those are very cool animals. Yes, so this is from Spanish, or it is Spanish, from the diminutive of armado, which means armed one. One that is armed. And yeah, those guys are armed pretty well. Really, they're armored. All right, next we have Armageddon with a capital A. This is a noun from the 14th century. 1A, the site or time of a final and conclusive battle between the forces of good and evil. 1B, the battle taking place at Armageddon. So it's also a place. Number 2, a usually vast, decisive conflict or confrontation. The etymology says this is Greek from Harmagedon, Harmagedon, and that is a scene of the battle foretold in Revelations 16, 14 through 16. So if you've got your Bible handy, go check that out. I don't have mine. I don't have one. I actually do kind of want to read the Bible. I want to read all sorts of religious texts because I think that would be interesting. All right, we are going to move on to Armagnac. Capital Armagnac. This is a noun from 1831. A brandy produced in the, I don't know how to say this, Gers, the Gers department of France. It's a department of France? What does that mean exactly? Is it, you mean like the Gers region of France? But they said department. I don't know. Let's look at the etymology. It is French from Armagnac, a region in southwest France. So Armagnac is a region as well as the brandy produced in that region, and maybe there is a subsection of that region called Gers, Gers. Let's move on to armament. This is a noun from 1632. 1. A military or naval force. 2A. The aggregate of a nation's military strength. 2B. We have the synonyms weapons and arms. 3. The process of preparing for war. The etymology says this is French from armament, which is from Latin armamenta, which means utensils or military or naval equipment. There you go. Next, we have armamentarium. I think that's right. This is a noun from circa 1860, a collection of resources available or utilized for an undertaking or field of activity, especially the equipment, methods, and pharmaceuticals used in medicine. And the etymology says this is Latin, means armory. Now we are going to move on to a phrase. It is arm and a leg. It's a noun from 1956. The definition just says an exorbitant price. Basically something that's really, really expensive. It cost me an arm and a leg. All right, we are going to do one more for this episode. It is the word armature. Armature. This is a noun from the 15th century. 1. An organ or structure as teeth or thorns for offense or defense. 2A. A piece of soft iron or steel that connects the poles of a magnet or of adjacent magnets. 2B. A usually rotating part of an electric machine as a generator or motor, which consists essentially of coils of wire around a metal core and in which electric current is induced or in which the input current interacts with a magnetic field to produce torque. Wow, that was long. Okay, 2C. The movable part of an electromagnetic device as a loudspeaker. 2D, a framework used by a sculptor to support a figure being modeled in a plastic material. Synonym, it's not a synonym, it's also the 1A definition for the word framework. We have an example, as in, events that serve as the armature of the book. And that last definition, 2D, was basically the same word as what animators use when they're creating a puppet. That's basically what it says. A sculptor support a figure being modeled in a plastic material. I've actually worked with armatures a little bit. Yeah, I'm sure we'll get to another word where I can expand on that if you want me to. So what are we going to pick? We went through arms and armadillos. I mean, armadillo is a great word of the episode. I kind of like armature as well, but armadillo is a good one. I can find a good armadillo picture and post that on Instagram. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Thank you for listening. And until next time, which is tomorrow, I will be reading you the dictionary. Thank you and goodbye. Hello, word nerds. Hi. Hello. Welcome. First word is armband. All one word, A-R-M-B-A-N-D. This is a noun from 1797. A band worn around the arm, especially a band worn around the arm for identification or in mourning. This identification version of it, that has had some bad stuff in history. We're going to move on to arm candy. This is a noun from 1992. A young, attractive person who accompanies a usually older person at social events. I have never been arm candy, and I never will. Next, we have armchair. This is the first form of two. It's a noun from 1633. A chair with armrests. Fancy that. Now we have the second form of armchair. It's an adjective from 1858. 1. Remote from direct dealing with problems. Theoretical rather than practical. As in, armchair strategists. Number 2. Sharing vicariously in another's experiences. As in, an armchair traveler. Next we have the word armed. A-R-M-E-D. This is the first form of two. It's an adjective from the 13th century. 1a, furnished with weapons, as in an armed guard. Also, using or involving a weapon. 1b, furnished with something that provides security, strength, or efficacy, as in armed with knowledge. And by listening to me talk about the dictionary, you are becoming armed with knowledge. And that is not a bad thing. Number 2, marked by the maintenance of armed forces in readiness. Now we have the second form of armed. This is an adjective from 1606, having an arm or arms, especially of a specified kind or number, usually used in combination, as in long-armed or two-armed. I don't know about you, but I am two-armed. Most people are. Some people aren't. I've never met somebody who's three-armed, but maybe I should go look for a picture. Now we have armed forces. This is a noun from 1625, the combined military, naval, and air forces of a nation, called also armed services. Now we have Armenian with a capital A. This is a noun from circa 1537. 1. A member of a people dwelling chiefly in Armenia and neighboring areas as Turkey or Azerbaijan. I hope I said that close enough. Number 2, the Indo-European language of the Armenians. And it tells me to see the Indo-European languages table. That sounds kind of interesting. Number 3, a member of the Armenian Church established by Saint Gregory the Illuminator that adheres to the decisions of the first 3 ecumenical councils. Armenian is also an adjective. Just because this popped up earlier today, I'm going to mention it. So I posted a video on my YouTube page called Pan is Hot. It's a documentary that my parents made about 40 years ago, either the very late 70s or the very early 80s. And it's a documentary that they made about this guy whose name is Sarkis, or maybe his last name is Sarkis. And he owned a diner in the north suburbs of Chicago. And they went for decades. I'm not even sure if I went, but it does still exist. He has unfortunately passed on, I think, about a year ago or so. But he was such a character that they decided to make a short documentary about him. It's about 11 minutes, I think. So we were able to get it digitized from 8mm film, got it on YouTube, and the reason it came up was because somehow it's been getting a lot of views over the last few days or week or something. But I think one of the comments in there said something about like my favorite Armenian or something. So as far as I understand, he was Armenian, and he came over and created this amazing diner that I think has even been sort of spoofed in Saturday Night Live by people like Bill Murray. I'm pretty sure he used to go there when he lived in the area. So that's my Armenian tangent. All right, let's see. Next, we have armful, one word. This is a noun from 1579. As much as the arm or arms can hold. Now we have armhole. I hope you don't have a hole in your arm. That would be bad. This is one word. It's a noun from circa 1775. An opening for the arm in a garment. Yeah, that makes more sense. Now we have armiger or armiger, Armiger. This is a noun from 1577. 1, we have the synonym squire. And 2, it says, one entitled to bear heraldic arms. Armigeral, or armigeral, armigeral, I think that's how it goes, is an adjective. And the etymology says this is Latin. It means armor bearer. That is from armiger, which means bearing arms. And that is from arma, which means arms, plus gerere, which means to carry. That's kind of interesting. I don't know. I like it when things are so clear like that. Arm plus gerere, armor bearer. All right, now we have armigerous. This is an adjective from circa 1731, and it means bearing heraldic arms. Let's see, how many more are we going to do? Just a few. All right, next we have armillary sphere. Yeah, that's how it's pronounced. It is 2 words. It is a noun from 1664, an old astronomical instrument composed of rings showing the positions of important circles of the celestial sphere. Armillary. Why does it armillary? Let's see. This is the French version is sphère armillaire. Ooh, that I don't know if I said it right, but that sort of rhymes, which is cool. This is from the Middle Latin armilla, which is from Latin. Well, it is Latin. It means bracelet or iron ring, and that is from armis, which means shoulder. And there's more at the word arm. So, yeah, it's related to like a circle, bracelets, iron rings, things like that. And it's made into a sphere, I guess. Have you ever seen the dark crystal? Agra has this giant celestial thing that's rotating around, and I just was always fascinated by how cool that thing is. And it looks like they really created it. I would love to have seen that in person. But I wonder if that would be considered an armillary sphere. All right, next we have Arminian. It's not Armenian, it's Arminian. This is an adjective from 1617, of or relating to Arminius or his doctrines opposing the absolute predestination of strict Calvinism and maintaining the possibility of salvation for all. Arminian is a noun, and Arminianism, whoa, that's a funky word to say. Arminianism is also a noun. And I think we will do one more for this episode. It is armistice. Armistice. This is a noun from 1706. temporary suspension of hostilities by agreement between the opponents. Synonym is truce. And the etymology says, let's see, what do we want to say here? From New Latin armistitium, which is from the Latin arma plus stitium. And then in parentheses it says, as in solstitium, which means solstice. And I will give you a little sneak peek into the first word for the next episode because it's related. It is Armistice Day. So what are we going to pick as the word for this episode? I feel like I have to pick armillary sphere, and I will try and find an example and post a picture. That's it for this episode. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, this is Spencer reading you lovingly the dictionary. Goodbye.